Cute as a cupcake, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Go to www.cuteasacupcake3.com and have cupcakes delivered directly to your door. Yes, that's www.cuteasacupcake3.com and have cupcakes delivered directly to your door. Now, if you're in the Northwest Indiana area, go to 2008 West 81st and you can stop by Cute as a Cupcakery and Bake Shop yourself, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And once again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I truly, truly appreciate it. Hey, I do a lot of reading and listening to people that do all the kinds of things that I do, or the things that I like. And, since I do a podcast, I've got all these people that I listen to, I watch, and, all these motivational things about podcasts and what to do and how to make it better and all that kind of stuff. And this week, somebody, mentioned to listen to something that gets you hype, or do whatever it is that gets you hype before you come on and do your show. So whatever song you like, whether it's a new song, an old song, or whatever it is, or if you like to exercise or whatever it is, do something that you like to get you hype for your own show. And quite frankly, I thought about it for a second, and I was like, oh, okay, it's not like a song that's new out that I'm, extremely crazy about, that'll get me hype or anything of that nature. And so I didn't go searching for one to do so before the show. But however, prior to the show, I play my intro several times. And, I'm in here and making sure the computer works right and nothing crashes and whatnot. And I play the intro song for the show during this time. And quite frankly, it gets me hyped. Yes, my own little intro gets me hyped. So not the words that I'm saying, just that beat in the background absolutely gets me hyped for the show. So I'm hyped every time we come here, for the most part, to get to talk to you guys yet again. So here it is, Saturday, 2:30 on the East Coast, 1:30 on the in Central Time, and 11:30 a.m. West Coast. And welcome again to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. Right now, I want you to share the show. So however you're listening to it, share the show. I don't care what platform you're listening to it. Please go ahead and share the show. I'm going to ask you that probably every week from now on, trying to get some things popping off. So I need you guys to share the show. Also like the show as well. Go ahead and like the show. We're coming up on about 200,000 listeners, or actually just downloads, coming from just two platforms, and that's iTunes and from Spreaker.com as well. So we want to get there. We want to shatter that. And, one day we'll calculate from all the different platforms that people listen to the show. But at this point, that's where we've been calculating. So coming up on 200,000, share the show with your friends and your family. All right. They need this information too, right? You would agree. Today, what are we going to talk about? So today we're going to talk about mortgage financing. It's a live show. If you got the show, you're listening to it right now, you see what the title of the show is. So we're going to talk about that today. And the reason we're doing that is because 4 out of 5 of my credit restoration clients, yes, I do perform credit restoration. So I don't only talk to you on this platform about it, but I speak about it as well at different organizations and whatnot. And with realtors, and I talk about it with mortgage people and all kinds of different settings. I speak about credit and how to improve your credit. So, of course, I also perform restoration. And 4 out of 5 of my clients, they want to buy a home. Just one of the major things that they want to do, typically when they call me. That's why they're getting their credit together. That's why they're doing this anyway. So that's why we're going to talk about it today. Now, don't turn away because you already got a home. Maybe you want to refinance one day. You might find out a couple tidbits in here about that. But if you're listening to the show because your credit starts with a 4 or a 5 or a 6 or even a 7, then you want to stay tuned to the show. So let me give a couple shout outs right quick. I got to give a shout out to my main man, one of my ace boom coons. He was one of the best men in my wedding. We've been friends since freshman year high school. Gordon Bryant. today. Yes, today is his birthday, August 15th. He celebrates his birthday. He's out doing his thing, hanging out in Vegas. Stay safe out there, man. Wear your mask. You and your fiance, you guys wear your mask and do your thing. But I want to say happy birthday to you, my man. And always bet on black, like Wesley Snipes say. So happy birthday to you, Gordon Bryant. Todd Greenwood celebrates a birthday today as well. Todd and I go way back as well. Not far as back as me and Gordon, but we go back to the 90s. We go back, and his birthday is today, so I want to say happy birthday to you, Todd Greenwood. And Takesha Farmer, she listens to the show. She's always commenting on stuff when I'm doing things on Facebook or maybe even Instagram and whatnot. So she celebrated her birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to you, Takesha. And Tressa Azarel Smallwood, she's an author. She is a movie producer. She's a book publisher. And she's a motivational speaker as far as I'm concerned. And she was actually the motivation behind me writing 5 Pillars of Credit. I've been listening to her. She's been, giving out all this free advice and things of that nature. And she really encouraged me, without speaking to me personally, to go ahead and put pen to paper and get out 5 Pillars of Credit. So you go get 5 Pillars of Credit. It is on Amazon. It's also at Barnes & Noble. It's an ebook, $2.99. Yes, $2.99. Go get that book. If you find any value in the show, you can spend $3 on the show, basically. Spend the $2.99, and you can always gift it as well. So happy birthday to you, Tressa Azarel Smallwood. I really, really appreciate it. All right, so let's get into this mortgage financing deal and what's going on. So why this subject and why today? Like I said, 4 out of 5 of my credit restoration clients, they want to buy a home. So when people call me and we have our consultations and I talk to them on the phone, my first question to every client is, the first time we speak is, what is your goal? I ask that before I ask what's your current credit score, what seems to be holding your credit back. Those are common questions that I ask, but the very first thing is, what is your goal? Oftentimes, that goal, more often than not, that goal is to buy a home. So that's why we're speaking about this today. And this week, I want to say only one person that I talked to all week wasn't talking about buying a home. Only one person all week wasn't talking about buying a home. So, when things hit my head and hit my heart, I bring it to you. And so that's why we're talking about it today. So since so many of those people are looking to do that, and it's it's the biggest purchase that most of us will make in our lives. Plus, it's you need to get the right mortgage for you at the right rate. Because it impacts your ability to do so much more. So, such as saving, if you want to be saving for whatever, or you're saving for retirement, or for kids' college, or if you want to go to college or go back to college, saving things. So if you are getting this mortgage, and hopefully most of the time it's going to be a fixed mortgage, so you know how much your payment is basically going to be for the life of that loan, which could be 15, 20, 25, 30 years, right? It makes a big impact on other things that you can do. Living expense and the roof over our heads is the biggest expense that the majority of us have. So it makes a difference, and you got to get it right and get it done. So it does impact all of those things, going back to college and all that, if you're going to get a new car or a newer car or whatever it is. So it's obviously important. So we're going to tackle some of that today. I'm going to tell you how the system works a little bit, what you should do, what order you should do some things, all of that we're going to discuss on the 800 Credit Score Man Show today. So let's tackle with what can home ownership do for you? What can it absolutely do for you? Now, I'm gonna step back. This isn't in my notes, but let me talk about this for a second. So since we're dealing with this particular pandemic, and originally I guess Congress and looked at, okay, we need to do some kind of relief for individuals that are renting. So they put a moratorium, if you will, on being able to be evicted. Now, so they did that, and I think it expired in July, but it's being extended again, I believe. So that's good for people that, don't have an income to be able to pay their rent to their landlords. But what about and when we think about that, oftentimes we think about the big, apartment complexes and the people that own, they own 50 homes and they rent them out and things of that nature. But what about the little entrepreneur? What about the real estate developer that is local and in your area that has one home that they rent out or two homes that they rent out? Or maybe they have a triplex that's three homes all in one and they live in one and then they rent out the other two. Or people that, just rent a room in their home or their basement and they count on that income to come in to pay their mortgage and to pay their bills and things of that nature. So what about those individuals? Where is their relief? Oftentimes they're not a company. They may not be, they may not have an LLC or something of that nature. They just have an additional home and they rent that home out. So it's good that the individual that lives there can't be kicked out because of this pandemic and it's, it's the craziest thing that has happened in our lifetime at this point. But it's also hurting the landlords, especially the little landlords that, and I'm calling you little even if you got 10 places. If you got 10 places, you got 16 places, you're small compared to big conglomerates that have an apartment building that has 50 different units in it, right? So what happens to them as well? So I just want to bring that out too, because it's very important that we look out for everybody that's struggling and might be having an issue at this particular point in time. So what can home ownership do for you if you're just buying your home? So one of the things is, what if you wanted to get a pet? A lot of places allow you to get a pet, whether it's a home that you're renting from someone, or if it's an apartment building, there are places that allow you to have a pet. However, if you're in an apartment building, home ownership would allow you to do some things differently. If you're in an apartment building and that dog's scratching on the door and they want to go out and it's midnight and you're half asleep and you don't have clothes on, now you got to put your clothes on. You got to, wake up. You got to put your flip-flops on. You got to get the leash. You got to walk outside, let Fluffy do their business, and then get back in the house. Now, maybe you're not even sleeping anymore, and now it's going to be hard for you to get back to sleep so you can get back up at 7 o'clock in the morning so you can get to work. However, if you are a homeowner and you got a backyard and a fenced-in fence, that happens every night. Fluffy goes scratching on the door at 11:30, 11:45. You can open the back door, let Fluffy out do the thing. Fluffy's going to come back to the door. Fluffy's going to scratch on the door, and you can let Fluffy in. You can do that whether you was naked, whether you, just had your boxing shorts on, or whatever it is. You can do that when you got home ownership. This is one of the perks, if you will, or benefits, if you will, of having home ownership. Also, it talks, it goes to, if you want to change things in your home. When you're renting, you can't change a lot of things. You can't necessarily paint the walls any color that you want. Your favorite color might happen to be chartreuse. I don't even know what chartreuse looks like, but it's probably not beige. And it's probably not white, or gray, which most landlords, that's what they paint their homes, and as they paint their apartments, a quote-unquote neutral color. But maybe you like something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, and you can't do that in an apartment unless you restore it back to the way it was before. Or if you leave it that way, then you get charged for leaving that way because they got to go back in, they got to paint the place, right? So those are just a couple of little minor things that are benefits to being a homeowner. So those are the things that I think about when I think about it, when I think about home ownership and what it can do for you. Those are just a couple of little things. Now, some additional things that I think about when it comes to home ownership. And when it comes to finances, since, we're talking about finances and this is personal finance, credit is, you can build equity over time. So you buy a house, you buy it, right? You don't pay more than what it's worth. Your neighborhood's good. Everything starts to improve. Prices go up. Then you can build equity in your home over time. So every time you make that mortgage payment, your balance comes down, right? A little bit at the beginning, but toward the end of your loan, a lot more is you're paying that balance down a lot more. And then the equity, though, the value of your home should be going up. So that difference in between the two, that's your equity. That's how much your home is worth versus what you owe on it. That's your equity. So you can build equity over time. So let's say you have a home and you bought it for $200,000. So now it's 8 years later, and the home is no longer worth $200,000. Now the home is worth $245,000. Well, you've been paying it down for 8 years as well. So now you don't owe $200,000 anymore. Maybe you owe $150,000 140. You owe 160,000. So since it's worth 230 and you owe 140,